Welcome to Riverbend Talon on WBGZ. Brought to you by the Halpin Music Company.
Brought to you by the Halpin Music Company and by Mr. Matt Van Voorhis of Macias Insurance. Another Riverbend Talent on a Thursday night where the sea shanty sing-along's underway and Pigpen's already broke his microphone. So we're off to flying start here on a Thursday night as usual. We like to...
I think I got it.
You did.
It's barely.
Beautiful.
It's barely. Like it's going to fall for the next person, too.
Yeah. Yep, you did it, Pigpen. Way to go.
I did. I broke it and I fixed it.
Graham Pagano's doing it up at Georgia's local brew until 9 o'clock tonight. Drew Schaefer and Audrey Sims underway at Big Daddy's in Edwardsville until 9 o'clock tonight. Let's see, Gordo already underway. Started at 5:30 up at the Prairie Inn in Dorsey. All underway on a Thursday night and more to come, including trivia night later at the Conservatory at 6:30. Lanny and Julie doing acoustics in the park down at Veterans Park and Pontoon Beach from 6:30 to 9:30. Also, the Insiders down at Fast Eddie's from 7 to 11. The open mic later at Ragin, Cajun and Alton. And let's see, did I miss anything? Oh, yeah, later tonight, Blake Foltz, 9 o'clock at the Back Bar in Edwardsville. Spilly Nelson down at Doit's Village Inn, 7 to 11 tonight. And Frankie and the House Shakers already underway down at Patrick's in Granite City, 6 until 9. Little known fact, starts at 6:30 at the Old Harold Brewery in Collinsville. And, of course.
Yeah, Experience Live Music
Right.
Row every Wednesday through Sunday down in Belleville with lots of bars and lots of bands.
And our guest tonight has played Experience Live Music Row, one of them, Cree Ryder. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, I love Belleville.
Yeah.
I play down there once a month. How y'all doing?
Yeah, good to have. Thanks for coming down to Alton and welcome to the show. Sitting right next to Cree, we got Phil Wright of Alligator Wine, and you still got the is your original band?
The Scandaleros.
Yeah. I almost said the Chandaleros, and I'm like, that don't
He's not in that one.
I don't think that's a word, man.
Yeah, the Scandaleros play around town, still here and there, and but very busy with Alligator Wine too, and all the other projects. So
I pre-gamed just long enough that I almost said Chandaleros. I'm just at that point.
There you go.
I'm afraid to touch my mic too because it's gonna fall for sure.
I'm not touching mine after watching that happen.
That was impressive, though. You'll be able to watch it, I guess, whenever this stream or whatever comes on.
Yeah. It'll be up on the video.
On the spot engineering.
Wouldn't be the first time that thing has fallen.
Sometimes it comes off here. Like here. So anyway, welcome to the show, gentlemen. It's good. I just saw both you guys play last week at Broadway Oyster Bar together with the Voodoo Players.
That was a good night.
It was a lot of fun. I went there expecting for a Neil Young night, but because of the passing of Jimmy Buffett, they did a Buffett night, and I knew when I drove past the door. I saw the line, and nobody had to tell me what was going on.
Pirate flag and the parrots all give it away right away.
Right. But
Hawaiian
man,
shirts.
Yeah. What a good.
That was a fun one.
Yeah, what a good show, man. So there you go. And what a great pickup band. I mean.
Oh, yeah.
Just every week out there killing. I see you guys both sitting in with them regularly.
Oh yeah, that's a fun one, man. We love the Voodoo Players. It's a great scene, and it's a great way that all the musicians in St. Louis and in the area, get together and get to jam out together. A lot of us are in different bands. We don't always get to play together. So it's a heck of a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'd agree. We formed a lot of friendships with musicians we might not have known. Otherwise, but doing the Voodoo thing with Sean now for 10 plus years, I guess. It's always a blast. It's always fun.
And for anyone, when I said a great pickup band, for anyone out there who might not understand, not picking up what I'm laying down, and you're not familiar with the Voodoo Players, it's Sean Cannon and a group of other people that they multiple shows every week and not a lot of rehearsal time because you don't. Every week he calls up some people and says, "Hey, I'm going to do this show on this day. You down?" And not a lot of time. Like we had Sean Cannon play in 2019 at Framily Fest, and he introduced the two drummers to each other before they went on. Still, like that's how much rehearsal time there.
We've all been there.
Right.
I was there, man. I was in that band.
Yeah. You were down there.
one of my debuts of doing kind of Voodoo Dead type stuff, and it kind of got me back into the the Grateful Dead scene as far as playing the music with these guys, and that's like it all kind of comes together because that's kind of what led me to playing with Alligator Wine and all that stuff.
Yeah,
which is one of the bands.
What's amazing about Sean Cannon and the Voodoo players is they pick something different every week to learn completely, which is very unique. And we had him on the show once and talked all about it. And you guys got a show coming up with him on November 8th, according to CreeWriterMusic.com. We're doing one of my favorite bands, Ween.
Oh yeah,
Voodoo Ween.
I've seen Voodoo Ween.
Yeah,
they only let us do that one once a year.
Yeah, I was gonna say it was about a year ago. It was about a year ago.
The only time we'll let that one out of the box.
Yeah, and that's,
it's fun.
That's what I mean about being so versatile because he's done Tenacious D.
Oh yeah.
I mean it's all over the place.
Prince.
I think some of it's more labor of love than some of the other ones, but
Well, okay, so like that. Let's just take what happened last week with the passing of Jimmy Buffett. It was supposed to be Neil Young. Somebody obviously made a decision, and within days, you're like, "Hey, we're going to do Jimmy Buffett."
Now, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say now Jimmy Buffett. I love Buffett. I love John Prine, but they're fairly easy to follow type songs. It's not like if you pick up like the Dead, let's say, or Fish or something, where it's like, oh, there's a little more to, I mean, they are easier, so it's easier to put something like that together, I would think. But still, when you're just with you got days notice. Here's the set list. Get them all down. Man, that's amazing. Oh, I'm sorry. What was you going to say there, Phil?
I was going to say I think Cree probably has a similar story, but I woke up, had a gig the night before, woke up that morning, and I found out about Buffett's passing from a message from Shawner, and we've done the Buffett show a handful of times, so we have a deeper catalog, but we definitely kind of put it together really quick, and it's it is something. I wasn't as big into the Buffett thing until however many years ago when we first did the first Voodoo Buffett, and I had to do the deep dive, and I had to do the whole. Here's 27 songs to learn, and a lot of them do have a lot of harmonica work from Fingers Tailored. I didn't know a lot of that, and I had to learn a lot of it from then, and then sort of fell in love with his songwriting and everything about the man after that. And so, it was, I know Cree was into Buffett way before, deeper than I was for sure. And, there's a lot of those songs that are very easy, but a lot of those are, some of them get some trickiness to it.
Oh, yeah. Well, the first time I heard A Pirate Looks at 40, that was the first, like I had heard Cheeseburger in Paradise, I had heard a lot of the songs or whatever in the Margaritaville, but first time I heard like Pirate Looks at 40, Son of It, I guess the pirate smuggling songs won me over quick, man. Where I'm like, oh, and the Coral Reefer Band, amazing, man. They're I like it when bands are slick like that, where like you say, not all their songs are like super easy, but man, they all
very talented.
When you're listening to them, it's not like listening to King Crimson or something where you're like, whoa, where's it going?
Right.
It seems to flow very naturally.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think at heart, Jimmy Buffett was a great country singer, songwriter, and that's kind of where he started. And like all those great country songwriters, there's always the songs can kind of melodically start to remind you of other songs, or they all start sounding the same, like you're saying, but all the greats, man, there's always at least one thing in the song where you're like, wait a minute, what?
Yep.
What did you just do? And then you got to go, and then when you're learning it, because you figure this out, especially when you're learning the song, you're like, this is just G and C and D, and then you're like, wait a minute, he goes to the 2 and then the 4 and then the minor?
Yeah.
Like, why?
Yeah.
Just that one time, but then you realize that's kind of what makes the song.
Yeah.
And,
I love it when a song sounds simple and it's not. When you break it down, you're like, man, that just sounds like such a flow, or the opposite, where it sounds complicated and it's really not.
No, he's just riffing. He's just
right. Either one of the. Yeah, it's well, it's music. It's the only religion that comes through the goods. No, I don't.
What I'd say about Jimmy is just, you can look at him as a novelty kind of songwriter kind of guy, but if you dig a little deeper back there, especially in the early country albums and stuff, you can really find a real treasure trove of songwriting and American music.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Well, Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, just for the listeners' sake that don't know who we're talking to, I know you introduced them a little bit, but let's get a little bit deeper into who we're actually talking to.
Sorry, I forget I'm on the radio. I totally forget what's going on.
I can ramble all day.
But Phil Wright, you play with Alligator Wine, and so does Cree. This could get confusing, guys, because but yeah, we're talking about playing with Sean Cannon. Anyone else you playing with? Cree
and I do a lot of duo and trio dates with Tim Moody as well, and I've been playing more and more recently with as a guest with Cree's band, which is just fun to learn so many of his original songs and to tackle, because again, a very talented songwriter and a good friend, and so it's they've welcomed me in, and playing with them as much as it works out. But I do that a lot. I play, like you mentioned, the video players. I sit in with a lot of people around town. I have harmonicas. We'll travel. So,
there we go. That was the next question for the folks who don't know. You're a harmonica player.
Yeah.
Singer as well.
I play harmonica and sing, and I can adapt to a lot of different styles of music. So that's what I try to do. Anyway.
I saw him walk up on stage with Andy Frasco. Had about 20 people on that stage, and there's like, hey, there's room for one more.
I played one of Frasco's first gigs in St. Louis after the 2011 World Series with him, and became friends. I knew some of the guys in the band, and I've just taken fast visits with him for a long time, and love the success that he's had since then. I've had the pleasure to play with him a lot over the years, and here and out of town as well. So it's I don't take that for granted, and I'm happy to see them have the success that they've had.
Yeah, he's a hardworking individual, not only on stage but off stage, and just all of them super good good guys in that good group. But I saw you sneak up on stage with him at the pavilion. I don't know if you snuck up. There's a bunch of people, and all of a sudden you just walked up and just started playing. I'm like, right on, man. Right on.
Yeah, I imagine you get asked to sit in with anybody that doesn't have a harmonica player.
Fake it till you make it,
right.
I can fill some spaces. So
now our listeners probably a little more familiar with Cree Ryder because we announce his name quite a bit on here.
Yeah, Cree Ryder plays quite often.
Up in Grafton, Wild Pickens, we've mentioned his name there, and Belleville, we mentioned that already. And but Cree, you got a couple different things going on too. You got the Cree Ryder Family Band.
Well, yeah, the family band is more or less hasn't really played. We haven't booked a gig as family band since probably 2018.
Okay,
and that was mainly that's happened because of my wife and I are kind of the main singers in the band, and our guitar player moved to Los Angeles to start a music career out there, Jordan Heimberger, and he hasn't even come back yet. We're still waiting for him to come back.
LA?
Anyway, he's having a good time out there.
But it's beautiful out there.
And then my wife and I have a couple young children, and it just became kind of challenging to in the early days, we would bring the kids to the gigs all the time, and they would be on stage. And then, as they got older, it just became a little more challenging. They'd be a little more mischievous, maybe not as cooperative. So I basically, I started playing with Cree Ryder with band, which is basically kind of what family band morphed into back in 2018.
Yeah, because before coming back to St. Louis, you toured all over the country, right? From about 2005 to 2012, according to your website.
Yeah, when I grew up in St. Louis, but I did move away, and I was in some bands out in the Bay Area in 2005, 2006, and we toured a bunch out there. A lot on the West Coast. We came through the Midwest a couple times, went kind of down south. Played New Orleans a few times, did some little runs down there, but and then at the tail end of that, I did move out to New York with my fiance at the time, my wife, and we started a band out there, which is another whole other chapter off of Craigslist. And we lived in Brooklyn. It was just because we figured we could do anything, I guess.
Right. Yeah.
We did it. We played some shows, and so we played out east, up in that area a bit. But it's around 2012, I moved back to St. Louis with my then fiance, now wife, and we've been here ever since.
Yeah, and started the family band then, and then now it's morphed into Cree Ryder solo and with a band from time to time. I guess you do both, right?
I do a lot of solo gigs. I do love Southern Illinois. I come out here a lot and play just solo acoustic, different places. O'Fallon, Illinois, Edwardsville, Belleville, up at 7. But just all over, anywhere that'll have me, I guess, and that will treat me right.
Yeah,
the way I like to be treated. And then, but then I also got Cree Rider with band, which is we're actually like in the studio putting out new singles, pretty consistently, and we play all over the region as well. We're we've got a lot of regular gigs in like St. Louis and in the area. That's because that's where we all live. But trying to think if we're out here. Well, we're playing in a couple weeks actually.
Yeah, let's talk
festival,
about that.
But called the Framily Festival. But and then on top of that, my wife and I have started doing the Cree Rider Family Trio. So we're kind of gradually bringing her back into the band, and that's with Andy Coco, who was in the original Family band.
Yeah,
and everybody loves Andy Coco, and then
absolutely.
And so. That's kind of my side of the solo original stuff that's going on right now.
Okay, yeah, that sounds good. And a couple of full-length albums with the Family Band once you guys got it going here in St. Louis. And then right. I think there was a third, actually, that was...
There are 3.
Yeah. So you want to give a shout-out to those if people want to go check them out?
Oh, yeah. Anywhere you find your music, you can find the Cree Rider Family Band. We got the first album's called One Night Stand. And it's pretty. It's got a Bob Reuter photo on the cover. It's
we got the cover
Bob
right
Reuter.
There we go.
Classic St. Louis legend.
Scratchy Bob.
And the second album was called Let the River Rise. And then we also did an album called A Toast to Absent Friends, and it was a album of covers. It was an album of songs written by our good buddy Mississippi Mike Wolf.
Right, yeah.
Who people may not know. So check, Mississippi Mike Wolf. It's just a friend of mine who I was in some bands with prior to moving back to St. Louis that I toured with and stuff. And great songwriter, country songwriter, kind of a John Prine style of Merle Haggard style of voice, and just a great country songwriter, and so you check him out if you get the chance.
Now, did you start going to singles then at that point and releasing stuff, or was there a Cree Rider album that wasn't mentioned there?
That was the Family Band stuff, and then when I started getting the Cree Rider with band stuff together, that last album came out in I think 2017, so it was 2018 and 2019, and then all of a sudden. Yeah. Things weren't really happening too much anymore in that 2020, so
we ignore that.
It took us a while to kind of, and by that time, I had just kind of decided like I'm just gonna sort of just sprinkle these out, release some singles, get them online. So if wherever you do stream music, if you just go to Cree Rider, you'll find those singles that we've been releasing and some older tracks that are really good too. But so I've been trying to release pretty consistently on there.
And when did the City of Blues come out?
That one came out. That was the first one I released after a little hiatus of sorts, and that was like in I think July 2020.
2020.
Yeah, we were just feeling like that was the good vibe to put out there at that
point. You can check that one out at CreeRiderMusic.com. That's the one that's on there.
Yeah, that's where I found it.
Yeah. I like CreeRiderMusic.com. Yeah, and that's got all my dates, all my live dates for the whole rest of the year. I sat down and updated it like
matter of
last
fact,
week.
You're playing this weekend at Broadway Oyster Bar with Alligator Wine, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And then you and Phil and Tim Moody playing.
Yeah, let's talk about Alligator Wine.
Tie-dye party in Richmond Heights, right?
Yeah, we're playing Dre's party.
Playing Dre's party, yeah.
She's a DJ. I'm sorry.
Yeah, she's a sweetheart. Yeah, she's a sweetheart, is what she is.
Yeah,
long-time friend too.
Yeah,
and then the Hi-Hat Lounge, right?
Yeah,
we're still on
Hi-Hat. It's just, in the Soulard on there in Russell, where I can't remember what that place used to be called, Jeffries or something.
And then back to Alligator Wine on Sunday.
Yep.
Yeah, we're playing Benton Park in St. Louis over there by Cherokee Street and stuff.
Yep.
With second year in a row we've done that.
Yep.
It's always a beautiful event. So there's always this whole VW bus club shows up. So there's all these old VWs up there and stuff.
So there you go. For those who don't know, now they know.
Yeah.
You kind of bounce around and back and forth. Yeah. And now let's talk about Alligator Wine for a minute. Mainly Grateful Dead is what we get from Alligator Wine, or what's going on there?
Yeah, it's all Grateful Dead and Jerry Garcia Band and maybe a couple of other side projects that those guys had. That band's been around since 2016. Had a couple of different changes and but we've settled into what the format that we like, and what's working for us lately, and we've stayed fairly busy with it. We started off definitely. Me being a harp player and a vocalist, we started off doing a lot of the Pigpen stuff. Yeah, well, a lot of the early stuff that featured a lot of that, and more of the bluesy material. And we've definitely morphed into like taking on the more challenging things here and there, and got a pretty good sized catalog now, and just a group of friends. We've all played at different times together in different variations of lineups, and we had that one thing in common: we were all big fans of the Grateful Dead and kind of knew the material. And everybody in the band is talented as can be. I feel very lucky that I get to play with for the most part. But the Alligator Wine thing is definitely founder for it. It's a 6-piece, yeah. And so Nate Hershey is on keys and vocals, and that's a thing. We're a sound man's nightmare. We're all 6 of us sing. So Nate Hershey's on vocals. Joseph Cappan is on bass. Sean England's on drums. Cree is on rhythm guitar. And Tim Beatty's on lead guitar. Like I said, we all sing too. So, and then myself on harmonica and vocals. So it's a different approach to it than a lot of other bands take. We kind of combined a few different influences that kind of push it forward. We tend to be aggressive in the way we maybe attack.
That Pigpen.
Yeah, you can't deny it. It's there.
Right.
Yeah.
Before I ever saw Alligator Wine play, I heard the name Alligator Wine, and right off the bat, I'm like, oh, that's going to be Pigpen influence, just because it's his lyrics that he sings. So the first time I saw you, it was a lot more Pigpen and bluesy than what it is now, but it's been a great morphing over the years.
Yeah, it kind of just happened naturally, and once we kind of figured we were comfortable with progressing that direction, I think that made it a lot easier to say we can try this, we can do this, and now there's not much of anything we won't tackle. We're constantly adding songs. We just had, we still definitely bring back the bluesy stuff, the Pigpen stuff. It's still always there. We rarely go a show without dropping a couple of those pig tunes. So, they're deeply ingrained. But it's just a pleasure to play with the people we get to play with and get to do that music the way we do it. And to have people that want to come out and see it.
And one of the main reasons you're here is because of Pigpen.
Absolutely.
Right. Only this Pigpen.
Yep.
Right here.
Yeah. We keep talking about Pigpen, and anyone who doesn't know, I stole my name from Ron.
Thank you.
The original Grateful Dead harmonica player. You're really kind of the original frontman of the band in some ways. Singer, organ player, harmonica player, drummer. He kind of did it all. But yeah, I stole my name from him. That's right.
He had a birthday this week. Or he would have.
His birthday was absolutely.
I like the story you told me, though. So maybe it's not true that you were walking around over there at Emma's, right? Casey.
Yeah.
And you smelled so skunky that people were like, hey, it's like Pigpen the cartoon, right? Walking by.
Well, whether I'm a Peanuts character or I'm just ripping off the Grateful Dead, either way, I'm pretty happy.
Could be worse.
I'm not worried. I'm happy either way.
But the reason I'm bringing it back to you now, Pigpen, is because you got a little festival you do every year, and tell us about that and what's going down with Alligator Wine and Mr. Cree Rider.
It is the Framily Fest. That's family with an R. Some people think it's family and friends, but I think it's family and freaks, maybe. I'm not sure. I can't remember anymore. It's been a while, but yeah, it's the Framily Fest, and been doing it for years now. 2017 was the first official one, so but we've been traveling around the state, and came kind of home last year to Wood River, and going to do it again down at Camp Dubois. It is September 29th and 30th. I had to think about it for just a minute. It is September 29th and 30th. So on the 29th, we have both Cree Rider Band and Alligator Wine playing. So it's going to be a good time.
Break out the line.
I was going to say I might as well give everybody else a shout out too. But my brain's kind of shot today.
And for all the people who thought we were making it up, that your memory goes, I mean, come on, you don't even remember the dates of your own festival, folks. So we're not faking it.
Yeah. All right, so here we go. Friday, so it's down at Camp Dubois, which is right at Route 3 in the berm there. If you've never been, it's real close. Right on the other side of East Alton there on Route 3. So a few minutes from here. So anyway, Friday we get the music kicked off at the clever time of 4:20.
Oh, wow.
You have to, you know.
I swerve at 4:20.
It's 4:19. You got a minute?
4:21. I forgot, but that's all right.
Yeah.
It's 4:20 somewhere.
Yeah.
Way better song.
So there you go. So 4:20 to 5:20, we got the Framily Values Band, which is me and my wife and my friend Jennifer, who helps me. We work so hard putting this together. You know, we're just there because we worked hard to do this.
Something to set sound to.
Something we are the sound check band. Now it is actually a really fun band. It's been a blast having my wife in a band and my friend Jennifer. Along with our buddy Jeff Lair and Gabe also. But anyway, after that we got the Hideous Gentleman, which, you know, everybody knows the Hideous Gentleman around this town because of the Music Exchange owned by Jared, and them guys play just constantly. After that, my buddy Gordo from Phoenix, Arizona is in town, going to do his one-man band show from 7 to 8:15. Then we got Cree Rider, 8:30 to 10. And then going to do a quick switch over to Alligator Wine, 10:30 to what, midnight, I guess it is.
I think that's right.
Yeah, if my math is right.
Yeah.
I better write this down.
I did, and I'm still not getting it right.
I'm about to say it's somewhere in the text message, Cree.
Yeah. You know what? I people have been asking me to post it. I've had a rough week. My van broke down. I've had, just a lot going on. I'm going to post the lineup. I've had people asking me to, and it's just, I'm also a slacker. So,
Well, you answered my question. I'm like, I haven't found this list. Where are you getting it from?
yeah, my phone.
Yeah, okay.
So anyway, that concludes the Friday, September 29th, and then on Saturday, firing up at 4 o'clock with the Psychedelic Symphony. 5 o'clock, the Yards. They're actually not called the Yards anymore. I'm sorry. They're a new funk band. They do a lot of meters tunes and good funk stuff. I think they're called Grandpa and the Sweeteners. Diabetic Grandpa and the Sweeteners or something like that. I don't know if that's right. Anyway, we'll call them the Yards.
That's what they're called now.
They were called the Yards when they signed up for this gig. So that's
Meter, yard.
With that
makes sense. Yeah.
So that's where it came from. They were doing a bunch of meter songs, so they're like, "Hey, we'll call ourselves the Yards." And then a few weeks ago, they looked it up. They're like, "Wow, there's other bands called the Yards." Like, sure.
Yeah.
So anyway, after the Yards at 6:30, we got the Sandwich Brothers taking stage.
That's a good name.
And after the Sandwich Brothers, Jake Willis, who is also a St. Louis native, who is going to do his one-man band. Unlike Gordo, who's on Friday, Gordo does looping. Keller Williams style. He creates the song in front of you, plays every bit of it, and loops it. It's pretty neat to watch one guy. He's the hardest working man in show business since James Brown died. Unlike that, Jake Willis, who's doing the one-man band thing on Saturday, plays it all live. He plays drums, guitar, harmonica, singing, all right there. No looping.
At the same time?
Yeah, no looping. So that's interesting. After that, we got Chicago Farmer and the Field Notes. And man, if you haven't seen Chicago Farmer, man, he's just a great songwriter, great guy, and with a band, a lot of fun. He's got Jake Willis, who's doing the one-man band as his guitar player. And then, if you're familiar with Bones, Jugs, and Harmony, he's got their drummer and bass player. And man, that drummer, he'll be playing drums and then just bust out a mandolin, a trumpet, playing keyboards while he's playing drums. He's just all over the place. That's going until 11, and then we're finishing off the night with Colt Ball and Friends, kicking it until about 1 a.m. there. So there you go. That is the lineup for Framily Fest. That is September 29th and 30th. And, man, really happy to have Cree Rider and Alligator Wine on that Friday lineup. That's going to be
that'll be a blast.
Yeah, and
just
if people want to spend the night on that Friday night, you can do that too, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So you can get tickets if you want to buy tickets in advance. Or available at framlyfest.com. You can buy them at the gate. That is fine. There's going to be vendors there. There's going to be some food available. There is no liquor for sale. It is a federal piece of ground that they do not allow liquor sales on, but you can have liquor. Bring all you want. It's a BYOB event. That saves you more money, right? That's
great.
Yeah, it's you can bring a cooler with food. There will be vendors there with food, but if you want to bring your own food, that's fine too. And bring your own booze. And but yeah, it's a interesting little venue down there. But yeah, it's going to be a good time. You can camp down there, as you said. So it's $50 for a weekend pass. That's both days, and you can camp overnight. It's primitive camping. There's no plug-ins or anything. There's toilets, flushable toilets. There's some showers. That's about it. And it's $30 a day if you come for the one day, $50 for the whole weekend, which, So I just saw Chicago Farm on the Field Notes play the old Rock House in March. It was $25 for that. So, $30, you get him plus 5 other bands.
I think if you're not there, you're losing money.
Yeah. I mean, $50 to get in for the whole weekend. You get to camp for that if you want, and you can bring your own. You can bring your own liquor, your own drinks and stuff. So it's a really a pretty heck of a deal. We're trying to encourage people to come. I keep losing money at this, and this is probably why. Because I'm like, I just don't want to charge that much. I want a lot of people there. So because it takes anybody who's ever thrown a party knows the bigger the party, the more work and money it takes. And I'm happy as I could be to have the crew that I got, Mr. Alex that does the video and stuff here for us, where he does sound for us, along with Jeff Nelson, and as I mentioned earlier, my friend Jennifer Nelson. So Gabe, we got a great crew that work really hard, and we're going to try and treat you guys like rock stars. So
all right, so our guest tonight, the Friday night, the 29th, because Cree, you're playing 2 gigs on Saturday that weekend as well. The Gramophone and 7 in Belleville. So
wow, I'm playing the Gramophone, jumping in the car and shooting over to Belleville.
Well, Gramophone has these nice little noontime, lunchtime gigs, so you just go down there. I'll just go down there, I'll be all tired from having such a good time the night before at Framily Fest, wishing I could go back, and then I'll go and get myself a sandwich and play some songs, and I'll go home, take a little nap. And I'll just drive over to Belleville. I actually do a monthly, last Saturday of the month up over there at 7 in Belleville.
So you're at Belleville on the 30th?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, so that goes to like 10, I think. So you still got time to get back to Framily Fest.
Yes. And then the plan is to go back, check out, hopefully get to see some of Chicago Farmer, because that guy is amazing.
Yeah.
And then go chill out with Colt Ball, no doubt.
Yeah, good times, man. So you, I gotta ask, is the Gramophone still set up where they got the video? Like, if you're playing, they got the video and all that?
No, man. So my first gig back in St. Louis was at the Gramophone. Even before I lived in St. Louis, like in 2010, it was a club. It was a music club. There's a huge stage and all that, and they would stream stuff online. And now it's the room looks similar, but it's a sandwich shop, man. It's like it's like a and a bar, and they got a full bar. It's like a party spot, and it's like sandwiches and bar, and they probably make a lot more money doing that. Speaking of losing money,
sounds like my band, the Sandwich Brothers, should play at this place.
Absolutely, Sandwich Brothers. That's what I was saying. They would fit in real well
there.
So yeah, I'll just go down there and play solo acoustic and have a good time. But
I had no idea it was a sandwich shop. Now, last time I was in there, it was a music club. With a big stage.
Sturgill Simpson played that room. Pokey LaFarge, all those guys.
How good is that, dude? I mean,
right?
Geez, oh man. Now I got troubles all the way down in my head. It's just that's the way it'll be the rest of the night.
So I was wondering, should we, since Cree's been coast to coast, should we put him on the spot like we did Maddie last week? And
absolutely.
Right, and what we'll do is,
we'll give you a minute.
We're going to give you this is a tease part of it, what we call in the radio business. We're going to jump into some Friday gigs going around, and give you a minute to think about a good road story we want to hear. PG.
PG's just one.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, choose wise.
How PG?
Yeah, well,
there's 7 words you
there
can't
you go.
say.
George Carlin.
If you're hip with George Carlin, you know what we're talking about.
Yeah. So, right here in town, Friday night, Mila Duffey down in Morrison's Irish Pub from 6 until 10 o'clock. The Hideous Gentlemen going to be playing the Conservatory, their monthly show there from 8:30 to 11:30. Yep. Gordo will be at Bluff City Grill on Friday night from 7 until 10.
He will also be our guest in here next week, hanging out with us, because he comes to town every year, and he's only in town for a few weeks to do a few gigs and then back out on the road. So we're going to talk with him next week.
a few. He's playing like 15 gigs in 3 days.
I know. He comes in town for like 3 weeks and has 20. It's just crazy. Yeah. He's the hardest working man in show business. I'm telling you, man.
Pianos down at Ragin Cajun on Friday night, exit 52, 2 to 6, and up all night, 7:30 to 11:30 at Fast Eddie's. The Intrusion playing the sports tap starting at 9 p.m. on Friday night and go until about 1 a.m. at the Alton Sports Tap. Porch Cafe, 7 to 11 at Baker's and Hale and Godfrey. Town Criers, 7 o'clock at the Moose in Wood River on Friday night. And the Fry Project up at Grafton Pub.
I got to see those guys. The name's good. I got to go see that.
Yeah,
the
7 to 11 at the pub if you want to go up there Friday night in Grafton, Pigpen.
Yeah, it sounds like a good night to check out the Fry Project.
Right.
Get a little fried.
Go up a little early and check out Bob Gilda while you're there. 3 to 7 at Aeries in Grafton on Friday. Harvest Drive down at Doit's Village Inn starting at 8:30 going until the a.m. hours. In Pontoon Beach, Scott and Mechelle at the Moose in Granite City starting at 7. Flipside at Patty McDee's in Granite City starting at 8 o'clock down there. The Taylor Made Show, Taylor Swift tribute, sold out at the Wild E. How about that?
What?
Yeah.
Nice.
How did I not know about this?
Yeah. I just saw a Taylor Swift song performed last night.
Too soon for a tribute? I'm just curious about that one.
No. I think it's perfect time.
Okay.
I took my daughter to see her first concert last night. It was a guy named Noah Khan. And whoever the opening band was, I didn't catch the opening band's name. We walked in kind of as they were finishing up, but he played a Taylor Swift song at the end of his second to the end of his set, and that's an interesting choice. But yeah, it was a very loud crowd, a lot of screaming, a lot of high pitched screaming.
I give credit where it's due when it comes to Taylor Swift.
Dude, hey man, plus she dances like an unmanned fire hose. So,
Also going on in Edwardsville on Friday night, Peter Porcelain and the Double Standard, 6 to 9. Sometimes it's the American Standard. But
right, it's the double standard this time. Well,
Big Daddies in Edwardsville. Riley in the Groove at the Chop House, 1818 in Edwardsville from 7 to 10. Soulshine Groove doing the Moose in Edwardsville from 7 to 11. And Lanny and Julie start at 6 o'clock at Lake Dunlop Block Party in Edwardsville.
all right.
And Glen Carbon, it's the Strangers from 7 to 11. It's a duo at the cabin at Judy Creek. And then Italian Fest is this weekend, Pigpen down in Collinsville.
Yeah.
40th anniversary of Italian Fest.
Italian's been around a long time.
Yeah, Italy's been here forever.
I had no idea they went back that far. 40 years, you say? Whew.
Yeah, Champagne Fix, 7 o'clock on the
right.
Venezia stage, and Dr. Chevegas,
okay.
7 o'clock on the Milano stage.
Dr. Chevegas.
Down in Collinsville.
Nice.
Also down in Collinsville, our buddy Scott Marlin with his new band, Grand Illusion. A tribute to Styx.
Grand Illusion.
That's right.
Not illusion.
Right.
Dude, Scott Marlin, man, what a heck of a player and a heck of a guy he is. So I bet that is a knockout Styx tribute right there.
Right. 6:30 to 9:30 at the Old Harold Brewery with all those fancy ways to buy tickets and tables and all that stuff. But
tickets range from free to $80, just depending on what you want.
Is it too soon for a Styx tribute, though?
Yeah, too soon, right?
Not soon enough.
I seen, remember Tommy Shaw joined up with Ted Nugent?
Damn Yankees.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
I read where they were paid $1 million to stop touring.
It's a great rock and roll swindle all over
again,
man.
It's something to do with the record labels and all that stuff, but just sounds funny. Please stop.
The Sex Pistols got paid to not make an album. It was a great rock and roll swindle, baby.
All kinds of stuff going on.
Why won't somebody pay me to not play or to play? Either one. I'd be happy with either or. Just give me some money.
And you can check out what's going on down in Belleville on a Friday night down there. I do want to mention an original show that we talked about recently with Don't Get Dead.
Yeah.
Right? They're playing at Red Flag on Friday night at 7 o'clock. And Kilberez Railhazer, Don't Get Dead, and Merrimont, which we talked about during that show when we had them on. And then I couldn't pass up this festival to mention.
All right.
In Hannibal, Missouri.
All
It
right.
sounds like a cool place for a festival.
Yeah.
Starting off, right? The Harvest Hoorananny Festival.
Hoorananny.
That's slippery.
Hoorananny.
And that starts at
Hoorananny.
That's slippery.
It's the Harvest Hoorananny Festival. It's a whore.
That could be a typo. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm typing in the middle of the night sometimes. But you know who's going to play it?
Who's a
Silver
Silver
Bullet.
Bullet band?
Right.
My buddy, my buddy,
That's right.
old buddy there, man. Oh wow, yeah, we just had
Steve
him
Tennant,
on.
yeah.
We just had Stevie on a few weeks ago talking
The
about
Silver
that.
Bullet
And
band.
so
Yeah.
yeah.
Well,
Well, you know,
Tribute.
it's tribute. Too soon. Too soon.
This is just a tribute.
Yeah. Yeah, Bob's man. I do every time Bob Seger comes up. I have this memory that somebody was in here and said their uncle played drums for Bob Seger. I think it was like Mark Quinn, maybe. I don't know. I swear somebody that we've had on this show's uncle was the drummer for Bob Seger, but my memory's bad.
Yeah,
I make a lot of things up also. So,
I feel like I've heard that story too.
yeah, I feel like it was somebody from St. Louis. I was thinking maybe Quinn. I don't know. Anyway.
Anyways, they're the opening band for Soul Root Band.
All right.
And that's a 2-night thing. There's a beer garden, food trucks, retail vendors,
Excellent.
and $10 for an armband, unlimited pony rides, and a bounce house.
Now I'm in.
Part of the Hoorananny?
Now I'm in.
You had
Creative pony rides.
Yeah, unlimited pony rides.
I didn't even mention the obstacle course.
With the ponies?
Probably with the ponies.
Can Cree and I ride pony to an obstacle course?
There you go. Yeah.
Hold
so
on, there's no way unlimited pony rides because I'm not going to ever get off the pony, so nobody else gets a ride.
Bad deal for the ponies.
Oh, yeah. It's a tough day to be a
I
pony.
need a union.
and it all takes place in a cave.
About to say, is it in the cave? Probably.
Yeah. Mark
Oh,
Twain
it's in a
Cave in Hannibal.
That sounds safe.
Right.
That's the only way to do it.
I've never ridden a pony in a cave, but going through an obstacle course too seems a little extreme.
I want to
The
ride.
bounce house is what the challenge is.
With the pony still?
Well,
What could go wrong?
It reminds me of a past Framily Fest where you had like a rock climbing wall,
Yeah, we
all
had
kinds of kids stuff to do.
So that was well are you talking about the one down in Benton where we had the rock?
There's a couple
I was
different
gonna say
ones.
that-
I don't know what you had going on some nights, but
to be honest, what I was thinking of was the predecessor to Framily Fest was Jeffapalooza. We did those started in 2010, and one year we had a huge blow up, one of those inflatable bounce houses things with an obstacle course that you climbed up it. And, you slid down and all the stuff. And the kids played on it all day. And then at night, we squirted a bunch of, baby oil on it. And you couldn't climb that. If you could climb the wall, you went sliding so fast. Yeah, the adults had some fun.
I think I was thinking of the Benton one, though.
Yeah, the Benton one. Now, there was a rock wall with a big zip line. And, that was an interesting little place down there.
So you got ponies down at Framily Fest this year?
We got
Camp Dubois?
We got bronies.
Bronies?
When Andy Frasco played, I remember just as he started down in Benton, I was walking toward the stage and somebody was in a huge inflatable chicken costume. And I heard Frasco go, "Is that a giant blanking chicken?"
Yep.
It's proper response.
So, there might be a pony, is what I'm saying. I don't know. I saw a guy dressed like a frog flopping in the mud at Framily Fest. So, you don't know. Bronies for sure.
Right.
Maybe ponies.
It's kind of a Hoorananny then.
It's before it's over, we're open.
Baby oil and everything.
I chip easily. I need the baby oil when I go.
The old
Getting
slip
rid of
and
that
slide.
shit. Yeah.
Well, that's just a Friday night this weekend, and we got Framily Fest coming up September 29th and 30th down at the Camp Dubois.
Yeah, Dubois.
Right.
And I'm telling you, it's an interesting piece of property because, I don't know if you guys know this. This is where you're playing. It was the winter home of Lewis and Clark in 1803 to 1804. And so it's time specific, except for the toilet house. They That's the only thing that has any electricity, and
Right.
and if you plug a crock pot into it, it pops it. So
So it sounds like a good place to set up a PA.
PA system sounds awesome.
I was going to say we have to bring the stage in, we bring the generators, the
Right.
PA, we have to bring we basically create it from the ground up. So it's an odd place, but it's the home of Lewis and Clark. 1803, 1804. So Camp Dubois, everybody. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. So,
Good times to be
Friday,
had.
the 29th is going to be an old-fashioned throwdown.
It's going to be a horror nanny.
I mean, we're going to go. It's going to be more of a traditional type of horror nanny kind of feel.
It is. Lewis and Clark would be proud. They'd be like, "This is the best horror nanny I've been to since 1804."
They're like,
Right.
things really haven't changed that much.
Right. This reminds me of when we kicked off in 1804. That was a good party. Last year, I don't know if he'll be back, but last year we had a guy down there. He brought a canoe that he carved by hand. He carves canoes by hand, and he's Churchill Clark or whatever was his name's Churchill, and he was the great grandson of William Clark or whatever it was. Either Lewis or Clark. I can't remember anymore. And so he's still holds the tradition of his great grandpappy where he hand carves canoes, and then the river tells him when and where to put in and when and where to get out. And he's an awesome dude. I mean, I totally understand this cat. Right? I don't understand most people I meet, but I get him. So yeah. Anyway, good times. What else we got going on?
well, that's our Friday night, and I don't know if that means it's time for a road story from Cree Ryder,
I think.
or if he needs more time to think about it. I don't know. We'll have to ask him.
I'm ready.
Yeah, let's
Okay,
do
okay.
it.
Because,
Let's
I
do
mean,
it.
there's a lot of things that happen on the road. Most of it's really boring,
Okay.
especially when you're, traveling around, with adults and responsible individuals. But we weren't, it wasn't always the case. But, there's there's stuff like you get, the highway gets snowed out and on the way to Flagstaff. So you're stuck in Henderson, Nevada. And, you made a few $100 at your gig, but you're in Henderson, Nevada, and you're stuck for 2 days in a hotel, which also happens to be a casino, of course.
Of course.
That's the nightmare scenarios when you're on tour, because then you're like, I'm just losing money now. Give me another one of those dollar beers, please. How much is the Grand Slam at Denny's right now? $3. Cool.
I'll take the moons over my hammy.
But I was in another trip that we made. Went in a band called the Mission 3. That was a band that toured a lot. It was me and Mississippi Mike Wolf and Jimmy Sweetwater. And you would love these guys. They're complete characters. And we were on our way up to, my buddy Jimmy would do all the booking, and he would, he booked us all the way up the coast from San Francisco. And the big culmination of the whole tour was in Vancouver. We're going to cross over the border and play in Vancouver at this place, this blues club, which was also attached to like the oldest strip club in Vancouver. Oh. It was like they were combined. There was like one, there was no walls between them. It was like one thing. You just walk into the other place or whatever. And
There's nothing as magical as a Canadian strip club. It's just, it's amazing.
There was a vibe, no doubt. But we had left. I forget, we were on the island. There's some couple islands up there in Washington. Well, I can't remember the name of them right now, but it was gorgeous. And we were driving from there up to Canada. And of course we were, getting to the border, and we started getting a little nervous and a little squirrely. So we were like, let's pull over at this rest area. And we thought about what we were taking in there and what our plan was to get in, and we might have buried a few objects somewhere out in the woods, just just in case.
It'll be here when we get back.
Yeah. And so we're like, all right, we're gonna do it, man. And let me tell you, when was this? This was in 2007 or 8, maybe 2009. So the borders were not fun. The Canadians, when you're getting over the border, are not very pleasant or cool or like. I always thought Canadians were so nice, but like when you got to the border, Canadian border, like they were like looking us over like, why you got, what do you guys want? And then, I don't know, we just like didn't say the right thing, I guess, because we were like, I think we were probably just like, we're going to go play a gig and make money. And they were just like, no, you're not. No. So anyway, they're like, yeah, pull over, get out of the car. Let's have a look at you. And they took us into this office, and like, it was like, they're like, well, what happened in Mexico in 1998? Cree, like, what was that all about? And I'm like, what? I don't even know what you're talking about, man. I don't remember that thing.
I was drunk on tequila if I was in Mexico.
It wasn't me, man.
I went to Mexico?
Yeah. So anyway, I guess our papers weren't quite in order or whatever, and we got sent back around. And then, So then we had to get on the phone with the promoter, and this is the guy that owns the strip club, of course, and so that's not like it was at all shady or anything like that. And he was just like, oh yeah, go, and he's like, go back around. They got the, So we went back around. They let us in. If the paperwork was straightened out or whatever, after they'd harassed us for like 3 hours, we were all ready to go home. And we ended up going to the Vancouver Blues Bar, which was cool, man. But by that point we were so tired and it was just sketched out, and like it was this nice blues club, and then
that the owner of a strip club just called the board. He wasn't like send them and come off stage 3 and get this paperwork ready for me. He made a call to the board and was like, hey, you let these guys through.
Yeah.
And you're like, wait. Suddenly you're like, who am I working with?
Yeah. Oh yeah, and I remember the next morning, Jimmy who'd booked a gig and was real business oriented, and the next morning he's like 7:30 in the morning. He's like, yeah, we gotta go soon. We gotta go. He's sitting outside the office. He's like, yeah, he's waiting for the guy to show up to write us a check, man. He was just sitting outside his office, just waiting for him. Like, we need to get paid, man. Like, it was just like, I was like, I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
So
that's why Canada built the wall.
Free's fault.
South Park.
They paid him in Canadian quarters, and they filled up the back of the van.
That would be pre-passport days then. Because now you need a passport, I guess, to get into Canada.
I think you needed a passport.
Yeah, I was just up on the Canadian border a few months ago, and I wanted to go over, and I had no passport.
Yeah. I think they changed that at some point, maybe around those years we like to forget, but I don't know.
I believe 9/11 changed all of that.
I know
before that I flew out of the country with just a driver's license. And since then, it's a bigger deal.
I know Canada's like keeping baseball players from coming into the country for the whole same reason that everything got shut down, which we don't like to mention to give it no power, right? No, so anyways, but yeah, there's been incidences like that, and I think this boat tour that does the loop, right? They're about to come through Alton, I think, here in October.
They just did the circus?
No. This is like people take their boats and they do this giant loop through the Great Lakes. It takes like a year. They go down around Florida and then they go up the coast. And so these towns that know it's coming, they greet them and all this stuff. But they had troubles because they're in Canada for part of this. So lots of fun going down to Canada.
Dang Canucks.
I thought they were so nice. Apologetic.
What's this all about?
Of course, getting back into the U.S. from leaving Canada, they were just like, welcome back, see ya, get out.
Yeah.
See, now, I've actually had the opposite effect where when I leave the country, nobody seems to care what I smell like or what I look like. They're just like, whatever, dude. You get on the boat, get on the plane, whatever. But when I come back, my own country seems to want to look me over really well.
They're like, do we need to have Pig Pen back?
Yeah, I'm treed by some dogs as soon as I step off the boat, It's like, I don't even know what's going on here.
That might be the problem.
Yeah, well, they don't give everybody the same search that I got, but I do request it sometimes. I'm going to need the whole cavity search.
People pay good money for that.
Yeah.
Now, Cree, not only have you went to coast, you got some songs played on TV shows and stuff like that, huh? Tell us about that.
Yeah, the publishing and the licensing stuff has actually been good for me. It's a big part of my business, and that's actually keeps me in the studio wanting to record new music as much as I possibly can. But it really just worked out that I sort of when I was in the Bay Area, just hooked up with this guy who was runs a they're called Love Cat Records, and they music publishing, music licensing label, and through some friends he ended up working with Mississippi Mike, and a couple years later, he started working with me. So and that was probably over 10 years ago at this point, and so over the years the relationship is built, and we've had a lot of good luck, and he likes to call me up and really build me up, be like, Cree, man, you're like, I'm not lying to you, man. I don't say this to everybody, but top 3. You're in top 3, top 5. You're in the top 5 of the bands. You're my number 1 Americana country performer in this business. And so he lives up in New York, and I guess he hangs out with the people in New York and the people in LA that that do these sorts of things. But he's gotten us on TV shows, movies. A lot of time now it's a lot of streaming shows, Netflix and stuff. Like I remember the first big one I ever got. And let me tell you right now, none of them have been that big. But they've been like big.
Cents.
They've been like big shows. No, like placements, like the placements. Yeah. So like True Blood. You remember that show, True Blood? Like he was like, "You're in True Blood, man. Like you got a song." And I'm like, "Yeah." And like me and I got my like family, and we're like watching the episode of True Blood that it's gonna be on, and I'm like, And then they're like at the bar. They're at the basically anytime you hear my music in a show, it's like at the Hick Bar usually. Like if there's a Hick Bar, then that's usually where my song is featured. So anyway, what ends up happening? It was like it's just background music, like while the characters are actually talking about stuff. Like we're like there it is, I heard it. Did you hear it? I didn't hear it. I don't know. Was it in there? But they gotta pay. They gotta pay for all that.
Either way, you get to go to the mailbox and get.
They gotta pay for all that music, and it does. It's a good. I'm lucky in that respect to have that relationship for sure.
Yeah, you got a nice write up in Relics too. Little blurb in Relics magazine there that I saw a while back. So.
Yeah, that was unexpected and cool.
Yeah,
no
that
doubt.
is cool.
And I think some of that is from the pub, Love Cat records and stuff. So.
Nice. All right, man.
Yeah, so this is the weekend for Earth Tones right here, and
it is
in Alton, and that's on Saturday. Of course, we talked about it last week. Maddie at noon.
Maddie Shell and friends kicking it off at noon. That's going to be a good show.
And then Gordo from 2 to 3 and 6 to 7. That's the Lofty Comments sandwich there,
right?
Because they go from 3 to 6, and then wrapping it up with Jake's Lake down at the Alton Amphitheater. Glad to see it back down at the amphitheater finally.
Yeah,
so,
it is definitely going to be a good time.
We're running out of time, so we're going to fire through just kind of skip-a-doodly through the Saturday. And if you want to check it all out, it's at cottonmouth.org. But Tommy Carlos in town.
Oh, yeah.
Out of Bakers and Hale on Saturday.
Speaking of guys who make their living getting checks out of the mail.
Right.
That guy's had like more contracts with publishers than anybody I know.
Raleigh Overmeyer back at it down at Martin's Tunes and Eats from 2 to 6 on Saturday. Decades apart, the Refinery Bar having them from 8 p.m. until 12 a.m. Leadfoot up at the Hog Pit in Grafton, along with a host of other Grafton shows as they do every weekend up there. Dr. Martin's Flannel Brigade down at Doit's, right?
Right, I like that one. Mm-hmm. I like that one.
We listed them as DMFB one week, and you're like, I could give you a lot of things that could be. So.
Well, DMFB, I could list off a lot. Yeah, that's for sure. Who else we got?
Well, we got Just B doing it down at the Speakeasy we talked about in Granite City. That's like they do like Frank Sinatra and Dean Martin type stuff. So that's going on down there in Granite on Saturday. Duck Fest is back for another year.
Nice.
Yeah, in Bunker Hill. It's some address that we probably shouldn't announce on the radio, but maybe we should. I mean,
whatever.
But it's Merrimont, 1 o'clock, Unknown and Sailing at 2.
Nice.
How about that one? Non-Euclid? Geometry. Okay. Yeah, it gets cut off there, so I'm not exactly sure.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't know what it says after the R. It looks like there's a more, or maybe that's an N. I don't even know.
Yeah, it's a Cottonmouth. We know accidentally on purpose. We've had them on the show. Yeah, Chain Link at 5. Buy Her at 6. Buy Her candy. And went to
Buy her. It's better than buy her. I'll take her. How much? Hey, how much for your women? Your wife? The children?
Blush at 7. Yeah, 86 Red at 8.
Harvest.
It's a Warren.
Right.
The Warren.
That's day 2's going Saturday, so that's happening on Saturday. And Silver Material on H7, all at that Duck Fest. It's the second year.
Yeah.
Comedian by the name of Tin Convoy going to be doing the Wildie. He's been on Jimmy Kimmel and Tonight Show, a local guy.
Oh, wow.
From a local station, 106.5. So, the Fabulous Freebirds will be wrestling at the Big Daddies from 6 until 9.
I thought that was...
Oh, wait, that's a band.
I thought that was Stevie Ray Vaughan's brother.
Yeah.
That's the Fabulous Thunderbirds. Yeah, there it is.
Day 2 of the Italian Fest is Saturday. Yeah. That's where Shotgun Creek's going to be opening for Brady Seals down there. And also going on down there, Beowulf. Either 7 or 8, whenever they decide to get it going on the Milano stage.
There you go.
So in Collinsville. And what else? The sushi roll How about that for a band name?
I like it.
And then there's the Hootenanny, day 2.
Yeah.
Mark Twain. Let's see, Petting Zoo on day 2.
See,
It's better.
It's just getting better.
Mobile Children's Museum.
I don't want to comment.
You got magic and juggling.
They still allow those?
So, Jedi
Too
Knight
soon?
Duel. How about Jedi Knight Duel with intergalactic training?
Lord. I think they're just making things up.
Yeah.
You can get your cheesemonger license there too. I think
That's a horror nanny.
it's a horror nanny.
Yeah.
So,
So Matty Warren 4 and Timeless Corridor and Russo and Company at 8.
wow.
So,
But I tell you what, though, this is a lot of stuff going on in the weekend in our sleepy little river town area.
right.
So
I love it.
anybody says there's
Power
nothing
of
going
music.
on around here, I beg to disagree.
Yeah. I didn't even get to Sunday, and Sunday's like 2 pages long.
I know it's you know what, I'm happy that we have this many venues and this many
That's
bands.
awesome.
And
Yeah, and you can catch
Glad to be a
Cree
part.
Rider at a lot of those venues. And let's go through this weekend's schedule for you guys. Alligator Wine at Broadway Oyster Bar on Friday night.
I do a monthly gig there, so that's going to be that one.
And then you're playing Dre's Tie-Dye Party
yeah.
on Saturday. And then Alligator Wine at Benton Park on Sunday.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
All right.
And then the 22nd, you can check out Cree and Phil at the Gallery Pub in St. Louis.
Yep.
23rd, solo at the Boarding House, Cree, right?
Yep.
Boarding House Bistro in O'Fallon. Let's see, 26th at the Broadway Oyster Bar, Cree. And then Framily Fest, as we mentioned, the 29th and 30th. Plus, you got the gig at the Gramophone and 7 on the 30th.
Right. Yeah, we stay busy.
And then Cree is playing the Gramophone on October 6th. Alligator Wine playing on the 7th. And let's see, looks like 13th and 14th as well. And you can check out all his gigs at CreeRiderMusic.com.
Yeah, and don't forget, also on Saturday night, if you're in the city of St. Louis, we're down at my band, Cree Rider With Band, who's playing the Framily Fest. We're playing down in the Soulard at the Hi-Hat.
Okay.
There you go.
Yeah. I missed that one the second time through, didn't I? You got so much going on.
It's
a
too
lot.
much.
It's
It's
a
too
lot.
much.
Hey, thanks for coming down, hanging out, guys.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Thanks for inviting us
and
down.
thanks for coming down.
Thanks
coming
for
back
being
in
here.
2 weeks to play.
Yep.
So
yeah.
it's going to be a good time. Looking forward to it. Thanks to our sponsors, Halpin Music and Matt Van Boris of Macias Insurance, or whatever he wants us to shout out today. I didn't catch it at the beginning of the show because my mic fell apart.
Well, we just kind of bounce around with him because, like we mention every week, he just decided to take his advertising that he helps us support local music with and spread the love.
Yeah.
He gives it to all his friends who have businesses around town like Town Club, Smart Choice Auto, Mr. Donut.
There you go.
So that's how you do it,
yeah,
folks.
That's how you do it.
Work
man.
together.
Spread it out. So and everybody remember, whatever it is you got going on this weekend, get out and support local music and art.